Hi guys, I'm back. So we are working on tea towels today. We're going to go to our second image. We just got done with our Minnesota state bird, which was the two mosquitoes. And now I have this simple image here. Up north, very simple. But as you'll see, I only traced around the outline. I didn't fill in the state. That's what we're going to do with paint. So let me set that aside and I'll tip you down and we'll get going. Oh, I should say that I pre-did these. So what I did was trace them with, I traced the image with a Sharpie. I just put it underneath my towel, taped everything down, including the image. I taped the image down first, put the towel on top, taped the towel down, and got my Sharpie out and just traced it. And then after you trace your image, you're going to want to put it in the dryer on high for 20 to 30 minutes. And then that ink will set into your towel. Or you can put like another piece of paper over top of it and use a hot iron setting to set your image. So you need heat is what you need, and a lot of it. So what I did was I have a lot of designs and I traced them all first and threw them all in the dryer and put them on high for 30 minutes. And now I'm ready to paint. Everything is set and I don't have to worry about my image bleeding. So here we go. Let's get started. So as you can see, I traced just the outline of my up north image. So I'll show you how it is on the paper. This is on the paper. This is how I traced it. So I just stuck this underneath like this. And you can see it clearly through there. And I went ahead and traced it. So that's what I was talking about earlier. So right now I'm going to tape this down so it doesn't move on me while I am painting. So I like to use this wide paint or this wide masking tape because it works really well, though my tape is old, so it doesn't want to tear nice for me. And also, guys, as you're moving from one image to the other, make sure you clean your space before you go down to your next one, because I just got a little bit of, I had a drip that I didn't realize I had on my table, and that got on one of my towels. I'm hoping it's not going to be a big deal. It's kind of off to the side. That might be one I'll have to keep myself. So I'm doing these as gifts. So if you happen to get one of these as a gift, sorry you saw it beforehand. So anyway, here's my little image. And I think I'm just going to go super simple with this one. I'm just going to go with that blue and kind of greeny mixture that we made before. Just really simple up north. I might add a little purpliness to it. That could be fun. Kind of like that idea. I think I will do that. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to keep this part dry. I'm not going to mess with that at all. I'm going to go kind of blues and purples. I really love that. Maybe kind of a North Woodsy type thing. Yeah, okay. So how I'm going to get purple? I'm just going to mix this blue and a little of this pink together and see what we get. Do we get mud or do we get something pretty? Kind of looks like mud, doesn't it? Blah. All right, so I'm a big fan of just getting out the color you want, and so I'll be right back. Okay, so I grabbed a few colors. I grabbed this lovely purple pizzazz. That's always fun. And then you guys know how I love this midnight blue cream coat. Love this color. Yeah, and then I grabbed a darker Hauser medium green too, just in case, because I'm not sure what I want to do with that tree exactly yet. So this is a fun part. You just get to play a little bit. So right now I'm going to put those colors out on my palette. Little tiny bits. Remember, it doesn't take long. I'm still using this color here, Calypso Blue. I'm still going to use that one, and I'm probably still going to use Citron Green. So that's what we got going on here. I don't even know if I'll use this darker color or not, but it's here in case I want to. Might want some darky dark. Okay. So I'm just going to play with this a little bit. I think I will start with my purple up in this area. Now I'm going to wet this down a little bit because I want it to be kind of soft. Whenever you want the paint to be softer, you'll want to wet down your surface first so that your paint can bleed into it. And then as you get away from that wet part, it's going to get more and more intense. So I want it to come right up to this tree, but not into the tree. So I'm going to go right along like that. Now let's see what happens when we grab a little. And this is how I'm making that paint really runny. So I went right from the water, right to the paint. And I'm just going to pull it in a little bit. I'm basically making colored water is what I'm basically making. This is what I would call a wash. If we were doing an acrylic painting on a canvas, I would call that a wash. Ooh, look at that, you guys. Isn't that pretty? Ooh, that's kind of fun. Now I went back and I just am adding water to soften those edges and pull that in. Fun. Let's do a little more. No rhyme or reason. You guys can use any color you want. Just really, this is just fun and playing with paint. Now I'm bleeding out of the outside a little bit, but I'm totally okay with that. Because this is kind of a really watercolory look like thing, and I don't care. It's fun. So we'll just go like that. Maybe a little more. It's kind of fun doing these videos because you guys get to kind of design with me and kind of get your inspiration going there, kind of see how the process goes. It's not always perfect. It's not always super well thought out, but the main thing is to have fun. And sometimes, thank you, Bobby, those happy little accidents. You guys know who I'm talking about when I say Bobby, right? Mr. Bob Ross. Yeah, he's awesome. Now we are bleeding outside a little bit, but I'm okay with that. I'm going to come in here and grab some of this blue, and I'm going to start adding some blue in here. Ooh, ah, I like it. Yeah. I'm thinking I'm going to want to get my big brush and really get this wet. Now the look I'm kind of thinking of is kind of like the Northern Lights or something along that line. So that's kind of what I'm playing with here, is that my thought process anyway. I want the paint light enough that I can still see the words. That's why I'm kind of staying away from that darker. That's kind of pretty, you guys. Come back in and grab some of this. So you see, as it gets wet, it's bleeding out a little bit. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Now that's pretty intense. I don't like how intense that is, so I'm coming back in with water and I'm just going to soften it up a little bit. Soften up my edges, let it do its thing. Okay. So I'm just going back in with water. If I get it too intense, and I'm just going plain water right over that paint just to soften that up a little bit. Scrubbing her in there a little bit. I'm gonna come back in with a little bit more purple. I don't know about you guys, but I'm thinking this one needs some splatting too. Remember to stay away from your image with the water and with the paint. Just stay away from that little tree on the inside there. That's one place I don't want it to bleed into. Ooh, it really bled a lot up there, didn't it? Crazy. Kind of looks cool though. It does kind of look like the Northern Lights. It's weird how it's going up. Very cool. I like it. Now, if I want that to stop and not go any further, I'm going to use a hair dryer on it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Actually, I do kind of like this. I might wet this down a little bit and let it bleed up just a little farther. Doesn't that kind of just remind you of the Northern Lights? Remember those happy accidents we were talking about? Let's see how that, I'm just going to let it set. If it doesn't bleed any further, that's fine. Now I'm going to do this bottom part, and I think I will go into my deeper blue. Let's see how that goes down here. Yeah, that's pretty. So I'm wetting my fabric down. And I'm going to pull some of this darker paint in here. It has a really nice blue jean look to it, which I think is appropriate for Minnesota too. So again, this is just super, super watered down paint. Almost using it like a watercolor. Just letting it get kind of intense on the bottom there. Fun. I'm liking that. I can still read my north really well. Gonna go ahead and add a little bit more of that darker blue. Okay, that is pretty. Okay, I'm gonna dry this. All right, let's see. Now, as I'm looking at this, I don't know if I want to do the tree in green. I kind of really like the tree alone, just kind of white like that. I think it's pretty. I think if I add another color, it's just going to be too much. So what I am going to do though, this is still a little damp, so I want to dry that some more. I dried it underneath too because my paper underneath was pretty saturated because I used a lot of water with this one. But it feels good. It's not completely dried, but it's pretty close. Okay, now can you guess what I'm going to do next? I'm going to splatter this guy. So again, I'm going to use my little brush and I'm going to pull my darkest color because I want this splatter to really show up. So I'm going to go right into that darkest color, and it's quite a bit more intense than it was when I was painting with it. So I'm going to splatter. Make sure you guys are protecting your surfaces and your own clothing when you're playing with this, because this paint is pretty permanent once it dries. All right, that is super cool. I like it a lot. I'm trying to get different sized drops here. And how you do that is depending on how saturated your brush is and how runny your paint is. So if your brush is super saturated and your paint is very runny, you'll get a little bit bigger spots. But I am liking that, you guys. Should I do purple too? Or just leave it like that? I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay, I'm going to dry this real quick. And then we'll go on to the next one. Now, before this is completely done, you will want to, actually, I need to splatter over here a little bit because I got that all over the place, but not much on this side. So as I was saying, when you're done and you're happy with it and you're finished, what you want to do is let this air dry. So set it, untape it, set it aside someplace where it can air dry kind of flat. And once it's air dried, then you want to throw it in the dryer for on high heat for about 30 minutes. So that's how you set that paint in there. Heat, intense heat. So you can also, if you don't want to do the dryer thing, you can use your hot iron on it on cotton setting. Make sure you put another piece of paper over top before you iron. But because I'm doing many of these, I'm just going to let them all air dry and then take them all and throw them in the dryer on high heat for about 30 minutes, and that will set it for me. All right, thanks guys. On to the next one. Bye.